Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Scholars on Air, the show that features our unwanted 2 cents. I'm the president of this club, Jasmine.
I am Theta, and today we have our guest.
Hi, my name is Krishna, and I'm the president of this year's SU.
Okay, so first off, thanks for deciding to listen to our podcast. It's kind of...
haphazardly put together.
I'm sorry.
Is that right?
It's
So-
chaotic.
Yeah. So first, this episode is going to be talking about productivity, and we're going to provide students about methods to balance a life of academics and also a social life. So,
Now, okay, you know what? You may be wondering, why are we providing advice for you? So let's actually talk about you two's credibility first. Want to talk about that? Okay. Well,
special
Krishna is our guest today. So after all, you have a lot of ECAs.
Yes, I do. I can't even keep count. Let's see. I have SU, I have musical, I have ITP, I have athletics team.
STEAM.
Yes, STEAM. I almost forgot about that.
And he's,
Like, that's it. I hope that's it.
even if it's just like 5 or 6 teams, but the thing is, he's like executives, like taking on executive roles in a lot of them. So you're like one of the most important persons in the STEAM team. ITP, you're very important. You're there for every event, basically.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else knows how to control the audio panel for
Oh, yeah.
ITP.
And someone's learning. But then he's also the president of this year's student union, who's basically going under a reform. So he has a lot of stuff to do. However, on top of that, he's really capable in managing his academics. Like, he's second in biology. And you have to understand, our class is very, very competitive. Oh yeah, we're from 5IB.
yeah.
Anyways,
This year's Form 5 is just absolutely competitive. I have no idea why.
okay. Anyways, so Krishna is, you can say he is the ECA god. And then Jasmine, she is quite, I would say OP in slang, but
Slang?
okay, here's a secret. Before the econ exam, this test, right? And, she started studying at midnight at 12 a.m. She got the highest in the class. She got 10 out of 10 for part A essay and 13 out of 15. You know how crazy that is? And
That
she
is-
started studying at 12 a.m.
That is the first time anybody has gotten a 23 out of 25 for an exam for economics
Really?
in our entire class. Yes, it's
Since
the
Form
first-
4.
yeah.
And especially for our teacher, Mr. Cheng.
That is a surprise to me.
Did you not know that?
So she's the first in econ. So we like, if you have any econ questions, guys, hit her up. Her Instagram handle is swaggy poop, guys. Anyways,
It's embarrassing.
so that's why I would say that those two are very legible in giving you advice.
Tito, you as well. Aren't you first in geography?
That's just geography. There's a 9 people class. The competition is like 2 other people. No offense.
I mean, but still, it's still an accomplishment to get a first in class for
Think.
a subject. Besides, you also have multiple different clubs you're doing, right?
God.
As of right now, no?
I mean, to be fair, if you ask me whether my passion for it is true and authentic, I wouldn't say 100%. Certainly some of it is just for my IB portfolio. Like right now there's a Scholars on Air. I'm the vice president. Jasmine here is our president. And then, if you're from 4E, you may know the Youth Leadership Council, which I'm the leader and I guess founder. And
Vice president of Green Club.
and there's a green club, which I'm so sad. Like,
She
I'm gonna
got
diss the
demoted.
school. I'm gonna diss the school, okay? I was originally the president, but then they're like, oh, no double presidential roles for you. So I was forced to like forfeit it. I won't say I was forced to forfeit it, because right now the president, Bella, is very, very competent. I'm not dissing her at all. She's an amazing person. But like, it's so annoying that the school doesn't really give you, wait, that's not sidetrack, guys. Regardless. So, what
Let's
are we
talk
talking
about, procrastination.
Mhm. We are all familiar to it and with it.
So, for example, do you procrastinate? I don't think you do.
Well,
Don't think. I would like to believe I don't procrastinate that much, but I'm pretty sure most people would want to believe that for themselves. But I do have a few reasons for why I would believe I don't procrastinate as much. So people would usually, what do people call it nowadays? Doom scroll?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Instagram
Yeah.
and YouTube, with shorts and all, where, they are just constantly scrolling and spending, losing constant hours to what this phenomena is.
Ah, yes. Definitely not me.
Well, I mean, like, if you, Krishna doesn't, well, he has an Instagram account, but he doesn't use it a lot.
Yeah.
Jasmine and I, different boat. However, what we would like, how we deal with it is just, we delete Instagram.
Oh.
For the test, I deleted it. And like, yeah, you're out of the loop for a lot of things, but it's like, do you want to fail math or do you want to doom scroll? You know what I mean? Which, like, Krishna, you're very lucky to somehow not be sucked into doom scrolling. I don't know how you do it.
I just don't. I am too focused on the things I have to do. So
Yeah,
I
must be lucky.
don't even have the time to doom scroll. It feels like the opposite problem at this point.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I guess this episode is, after all, advice for productivity. So I would say, don't be sucked into doom scrolling. And if you lack the discipline for it, just forcefully remove it. For me, the apps that like limit your screen time, those do not work for me. Like, they're, in my opinion, absolutely useless. Like, I'm not going to hesitate by inputting another password I set for myself. So just delete the app.
I mean, if you don't really want to delete the app, but you still want to set a limit, or maybe you just want to use it for a little bit of time, you could just cooperate with your friends. You know how, I'm not sure if Android phones have this, but you know how iPhones have this thing called downtime for screen time? You could just set limits with the apps, and you could ask your friends to set the passwords for those apps. Then you would be forced to stop, because how are you going to guess a password that your friend's going to set for you?
Well, the prerequisite is that you have friends.
You can always just turn off notifications for that app. That's what I do, because I get really easily disturbed whenever I see a notification. I don't want to, like, just leave it there. I don't want it to accumulate like that. So I just turn it off so that I don't naturally just respond to it whenever I'm doing work. So maybe that could work if you don't have any friends.
Well, I doubt that most people wouldn't have at least one or two friends.
I can name 2 off of the top of my head. But regardless, let's not sidetrack.
Yeah.
So that was basically a very brief introduction to procrastination, which is a common struggle that most students, if not all, face. I'm sure that, Krishna, once in your life, you have procrastinated before.
Yes, definitely. But now I do not even have the time to procrastinate that much.
Ah, yes, 5IB is killing us inside out. But regardless, so next up, I think that as upperclassmen, we could try to give you advice or suggestions on how to study more effectively. However, I would treat this like, take it with a grain of salt, because we don't really use all of these methods, if at all, because our unique study methods, quite concerning. But here's like, a summary of what you may find useful, and they are effective, but simply don't rely on it entirely, because it's quite a bit stupid to just do that. But yes, want to start us off?
See, right? How I study is just, for example, biology. There's like a lot of memorization that you have to do. So basically what I do, I go through the slides. So for each slide, there is going to be information that is something that you should be memorized. So after you read it, you try and digest it. You close your eyes, you look at the wall, or do whatever you want. Just don't look at the slide and try to explain it to yourself. And that, I think, is called the Feynman technique.
That's a ripoff of the Feynman technique.
Yeah.
That is Jasmine's method is basically the Feynman technique if you don't have friends.
Okay, so, amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The Feynman technique is basically when you explain a piece of knowledge that you're trying to learn to someone else, or you pretend there's someone else if you really don't have friends. Because this kind of consolidates your own understanding, it really targets the loopholes in the knowledge that you're trying to understand. So when you're trying to, explain and elaborate on this thing you're learning to like what you pretend is a 5-year-old, then you really have to break it down to the most simple things, and you will definitely catch the things you don't clearly know.
Yeah, because, this technique is very useful because to express your opinion is a lot more difficult than just listening and understanding the topic. You really have to have a very deep understanding. You have to be very clear on what the topic is to actually be able to express your opinion and let other people understand this topic that you have. So the technique is actually pretty useful, but if you really are just at home and you don't have anybody else to explain, Jasmine's technique works perfectly.
It's just staring blankly at a wall.
You could use a mirror. You might laugh at yourself constantly.
That would just get you sidetracked, though.
Fair. Like us right now, Krishna, what technique do you use a lot? if at all.
Techniques for studying.
Or like, describe your study routine, maybe.
Oh, I don't really have a routine for studying.
Wow, okay.
He doesn't study for like chemistry, math.
And then gets second in the class.
Okay,
Okay.
so, well, for me, I am good at a specific subject, chemistry.
Screw you.
Well,
Exactly.
I mean, I'm just good at chemistry originally because I very well understand the topic very easily. So with that extra time that I don't spend on studying chemistry, I'm able to use that.
You teach other people.
Well, yes, for
Oh my
one,
God, yeah.
I teach other people as well for chemistry. So that also helps me revise. But well, with that time that I spend not revising chemistry, I also get that extra time to study for subjects I might be worse at, like Chinese, economics. Well,
you have God right next to you. You guys can help each other like a synthetic relationship, guys.
What is it called again?
Synthetic biology. What is it called? Regardless. Regardless.
we're
Like,
getting sidetracked.
This guy is bad at econ but great at chemistry. That girl is not the best at chemistry but great at econ. So they can really help each other. So find a friend who is good at what you're bad at, and you should be good at what your friends are bad at.
Yeah, besides, if you're in senior form, you're going to be in the same class for 3 years, so you're bound to make some
God.
friends that you're bound to make some friends that might suck at a subject you're good at, and you're going to suck at a subject they're good at, so you'll be able to help each other out. Oh, what about you?
I have a very, very problematic attention span because of doom scrolling. So the method I use is a rip-off Pomodoro technique. So do you know what that is?
I think that means tomato in some language.
Oh yeah. I think
Italian?
Yeah. I think don't like quote us on this, but the Pomodoro technique is traditionally it's you study for 30 minutes and then you take a break for 5 minutes. But for me, I always found that like the ratio is a bit too off. So what I do is I do a sprint, what I like to call a sprint anyway. It's like maybe 1.5 hours of studying, just pure grinding and crying at my desk. And then I will spend like the 5 minutes like daydreaming or on my phone or eating or drinking or petting my dog.
Control yourself for those 5 minutes.
I set a timer.
Like after those 5 minutes, do you actually go back to studying? Or?
I do. So basically, I like to set an alarm and guilt trip myself. So I would say, if you don't study now, you will fail math, and then you will cry, and then you will sob in class, and that would be really embarrassing. So I just go back to
slippery slope. Something.
That works because you got a 7 in math this time.
Exactly. But then my FA dragged it down. Regardless, no sidetracking. So to recap a bit, the Feynman technique is when you explain a topic you're trying to understand to a person or maybe yourself, which consolidates your understanding and find loopholes in your own comprehension. And then there's the Pomodoro technique, which is doing a sprint and then a break so that you basically have a very short-term goal in mind. Your goal is to just hold on for 30 minutes, and you will do that because the brain is a very funny thing, and they're okay with saying, I'll do that later. Oh, I'll get it later. So that's basically, I guess, using your brain's weakness to your advantage.
But I mean, the Pomodoro technique will still need at least some sort of self-control or some semblance of guilt tripping if you're able to do that. But I mean,
how would you ensure that? So that's why it's like not that well for everyone. Of course, that like applies to every single technique.
Definitely. I mean, obviously considering our personal differences, there are apps, but apps don't work for me. But it may work for you. There are like the Forest app. There's that Korean app that like. Well, I don't know. I don't know Korean. Okay, the person who knows Korean isn't here. But regardless, like there's this app that's completely in Korean. I don't know how to use it. I tried those apps. They don't work for me. But I've seen a lot of people who like are able to get in 12-hour study days with this app. So it's just it's like a competition because you get to connect with your friends on it. So then you see like, oh my God, Jasmine studied econ for 2 hours. I need to beat her. So then that's basically your motivation.
Oh yeah, competition is a great way to incite
healthy competition. Well, not in our class.
Our class is
quite too competitive.
Very unhealthy.
The entirety of Form 5 is.
That's not side fact, guys. Anyways, Jasmine, do you have any other ideas on some productivity tips?
Look, man, I'm very honest. I'm not productive.
I guess none of us are.
I would say he's quite
productive.
productive.
Do you guys use timetables?
No.
Yes. Well, what timetables? Like, school timetable?
Yeah, I use that.
That's what I was thinking.
Not the school timetable. Like, do you set timetables for yourself?
No.
I used to, because my dad forced me to.
How was it?
I felt like I was a prisoner. Okay. Oh, yeah. Like, you know how some people say, oh, routine is very important. Like, habits are very important. I live by them. I swear by them. They are my gospel. But like, for me, I hate routines. I need to switch it up once in a while.
That is so real.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what is up with that, but I guess some people, again, consider yourself, experiment. While you are still in junior form, experiment with your study methods. Whether you are, the type to really enjoy routine. So some people would show up at the same library, same seat at the same time, same day. Some people would be like us, showing up in different places, different times, studying different things. And that works for us. So you really need to figure out your own set of rules, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, Jasmine.
Hi.
What else? Productivity wise.
Productivity. Like, the main thing is just beating procrastination and trying to get a habit into you. For example, like right now, we have, for example, biology again. The syllabus is huge. We can't just cram everything the night before. That's what I did.
And she succeeded. She got level 7 in biology.
That's not the point.
That is not your role model, okay?
Yeah, that is, that is not the thing that you should be aiming for. So what I would suggest is to just like make specific days for specific subjects. So for example, like Friday biology, Thursday chemistry, whatever. And also the thing that I would really suggest you guys to do is not think about doing it, not think about procrastinating it. Just do it. That's probably the most effective and most
Great advice, man.
I don't follow it. It's probably the most effective towards like the largest demographic of people.
It would be effective. It kind of also turns you into a robot because you're constantly doing the same thing over and over again. You're just turning off your emotions and saying that you have to do it. But technically, for all examinations, you just have to do that because you have to get the entire syllabus into your head. Well, another thing that for exams that is also really important is being able to retain the concepts from previous chapters well. Like getting a deep understanding of the topic you have is actually very important. Do you revise all of the contents you guys have for the entire subject, every single test you have?
I'm afraid I do.
Really?
Oh,
Do you have the time to do that?
I prioritize. Like in math, that one test, I just skip the entire chapter of sequences. First of all, I hate it. Second of all, I don't get it. And third of all, I just didn't like it. I said that already, but
Difficulty in test sequences?
no, I mean like last year.
Oh.
Like there was this one test, and like when you do past papers, you can really tell the question types that's going to appear. And well, like I knew sequences will appear, so I kind of just skimmed through it. But this would explain why I got a level 6 that time. Oh, for the people who are not familiar with the IB system, the highest is level 6, the lowest is level 1.
Highest level 7.
Oh, sorry, level 7. Sorry.
Bro, if the highest was level 6, we'd be winning.
Nah, bro. But like, so if it really depends on what subjects you study. We are like mainly STEM students. I do geography, but for the rest of them, they do biology and chemistry. I do physics. So it's quite understanding based, but that might be an issue. And also there are things that you will still need to memorize. Like in math, you will still have formulas to memorize.
Formula booklet.
Well,
there are things that are not in it.
They're not going to have all of the formulas in there.
I guess.
So like, even if you understand it, there will be sometimes things that you just need to get inside your head. So how I deal with that is for math, I actually have my own formula booklet. So I copy the stuff down that isn't in the official formula booklet. Same with physics. My entire desk is just post-it notes, and post-it notes of the equations that I need to memorize and get inside my head.
That's kind of messy, but
that's actually quite effective because I think I've heard this person called Gohar Khan. sorry. Okay.
Gohar.
Anyways, so he's a YouTube creator and he talks about methods to retain information really quickly. And one of the methods that he introduced was that you just add any information that you want to memorize, put it on a post-it note, and then just stick it anywhere in your house. It could be your bathroom. You could look at it while you're doing your business. You could put it in the kitchen. You could put it in your bedroom, anywhere and anything. So whenever you just go around your house, look around, you see that information. So
that's quite a good form of like just repetitive.
Yeah.
What is it called? recalling. Like there are a
Active
lot of
recall.
oh,
I don't think
not really.
I don't
Like there are a lot of apps that like have inbuilt timers that is basically you have a piece of knowledge, you input it, and like they will remind you to memorize it one day after, and then 1 week after, and then a few months after. So I guess that's building the long-term memorization base, which is really effective for like subjects like econ. There's the definitions that you need to memorize.
There's so
It's
many.
longer than the Great Wall of China. I'm not even kidding. Like there are so many definitions you need to memorize, and yeah, you can understand definitions, but like there are specific terms that you need to use, jargons, and you really just cannot understand why this word is that specific word. So what apps do you guys use?
Quizlet.
Quizlet is goated.
Quizlet is really good. I've used Quizlet before.
Oh
too.
yeah. Remember when they made it like subscription based only for a
Yeah,
while?
I wanted to.
Pirated it? Okay. Oh yeah, definitely.
People probably started rioting.
Yeah, definitely. And like Quizlet, I don't know what you guys use that for, but I only use it for flashcards.
I use it for definitions only.
Yeah, flashcards for definitions. They're very important. I mean, they're very useful for you. I mean, wherever you go, just have your phone on you, and then you can just go to Quizlet, and then, oh, what is the definition of price ceiling?
Wait, that's so real. Like, you know how when you, when you start studying at midnight, you don't have a lot of time, right? So, like, you basically use such a convenient tool on your phone. So, like, what I do is I just go through the flashcards on commutes, because I take 40 minutes to go to school. So, like these people live very close to school. Bruh. Fine, okay. But like, what a perfect segue into tools for productivity, guys.
Ah, yes, tools.
Tools. What tools?
Other than Quizlet, what do you use? Or like, it doesn't really have to be any like specific app just for studying. It could be any function on your phone, like the alarm function to remind yourself, break is over, guys. Back to sadness. You know?
It's a sadness.
Mm,
There are ways to use timers to also improve productivity.
Mhm.
You should set a time limit for how long you want to achieve a specific task for. So like, let's say you have a piece of writing that is supposed to be completed in 90 minutes. If like,
Chinese.
Oh.
yeah, Chinese, you have your writing exams last for 90 minutes, right?
I think so. Is it?
90 minutes.
Yeah, then for your homework for writing, you could just set a timer for just a bit longer than that. So you have some extra time to check to make it prettier. So you would limit yourself and you'll be able to finish it as quickly as possible. And you would also be training your ability to perform well in the exam because you're also technically doing it as fast as you can.
Mhm.
So yeah, for one, you're improving your productivity and you're also learning while you're going. So I feel like setting a timer is a great way to improve your productivity.
Do you guys set timers for your
I
homework?
don't.
I sometimes. I used
Really?
to, but now I am too tired to care.
Yeah.
It's so stressful. For me, it's so stressful. Like when you see the clock ticking, oddly enough, I will not be able to perform as well on a piece of homework when there's a timer.
It is stressful, but I mean, it just depends on what type of person you are. Again,
Okay.
everybody
Pressure
has their
makes
own-
diamonds. Not me.
Actually, no, that's fake, actually. Like, that's
Oh.
false. Pressure does not make diamonds, actually.
Is it not?
It does not. It's actually a myth.
Then what is? No, never mind.
Yeah, no, it's sad checking, guys. This is concentration. The attention span of
ADHD.
Well, I mean, everybody has their own way of increasing their productivity. Some people may like stressful situations where they will be forced to go fast, so they will be able to perform well. I mean,
Mhm.
some people do better on exams than like doing homework. There are a few people. I can't list them off the top of my head, but
Okay.
there are a few people. But maybe some people like doing things a different way. I currently can't think of another way. Segue to you.
See, right? I don't really use special tools. I just either use my iPad or use a pencil and a paper. That is all I need to use for, and also the studying material, obviously. But like, as long as you have a pencil and a paper, there's not much that you need to do.
that is a very beautiful way to basically warn you. Do not fall into the rabbit hole of beautiful notes, because sometimes they are not effective. Do not go heart, slavery, heart, because it's simply not as effective. Don't waste your time on useless things. Sometimes, like, yeah, it feels nice to look at what you've done, look at what you've copied. And sometimes for certain subjects, it works, like history. That's what I used to do. I type notes. But then don't waste your time if simply looking at it and staring at it and memorizing it is simply more effective.
I would rather you guys just like have messy notes that only you can understand. If you're like making notes that look really pretty, but once you look back to it, you don't understand what you're talking about, then that's just not effective at all. So I'd rather you just use messy ones. You can use lines, arrows, whatever, cross things out. I don't care. As long as it's effective to you, it's fine.
Oh, I feel like messy notes make it more confusing to understand, at least for some subjects. I feel like, well, econ, we had one chapter where he asked us to draw a mind map of different.
That.
And then it became so messy that I did not know what I was writing anymore.
Really?
That was the interventionist and market-based policy one, I think.
No,
At least the market-based policy was mentioned. You don't know what that means, whatever. So
Basically,
really,
I mean, again, just everybody has their own style, but just you have to see what works for you. You really have to just keep doing trial and error, especially since you guys are probably still in junior form, and you guys still have a ton of time to practice.
Well,
time flies by like in the blink of an eye. So, yes, you have a lot of time, but don't waste it. Okay.
Yeah.
Time really is money.
Yes.
Time is not renewable. It's not a renewable resource.
Wow. Geography student.
Yes, sir.
Anyways, what's next, guys? What's next, President?
See, right? Should we talk about chemistry? Well,
I am okay with it.
Because math and chemistry, I guess also physics, because for me at least, chemistry, there's a lot of specific question types that you need to list out each step on the way. So what I do is kind of like a recipe book. So you first do like, first of all, you have to answer this question. Then you have to answer this, state this. Or if it's calculation based, then for example, what Dr. Lee does, he would like provide you, like, you have to calculate this number of mole first and then do the calculations. Like that is what I would do for chemistry, even though, does it work?
Yeah, you got a level 7.
Yeah, exactly. You got a level 7.
Gulp.
Gulp. Okay, what about you? You are the GOAT at chemistry.
Well, I think my ability from chemistry comes from my ability to understand it very easily, and also because I originally have an interest in chemistry, so I wouldn't mind, like, in my free time, just going and looking up stuff, like seeing, what's the next chapter? What is this? Why not just search that up?
Can you name the entire periodic table?
Sing the song.
Hydrogen,
we will get copyrighted, maybe.
I could just probably list up hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon, potassium, calcium, scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc, gallium, germanium, arsenic, silicium, bromine, krypton.
I thought that was his limit, but this is not us motivating you to memorize a periodic table.
There's no point in memorizing the periodic table.
There is a formula booklet for a reason. However, there are deranged psychos out there who will do it. Not you.
Cool though. It's like a party trick.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'm the first thing I know is all on.
Yeah.
And he's trying to memorize a Chinese version of it.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, it's a party trick, but still.
Exactly.
It feels unnecessary.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What do you do for physics? Just practice?
Okay. I'm not the perfect candidate to ask for this. Like, he's the chemistry goat, right? I am the physics rat. Sure. I am the physics rat. Like, I scrape by a level 7 every single time, if not get a level 6. But for me, physics is very, very similar to math. So what you would do for math, for me, the same thing. A lot of past papers. Well, I still go through the notes. So fun fact, I started studying physics the day before the physics test. And what I did was basically I went through the notes because there are, for the IB anyway, there are theory that you need to know. So like what Jasmine said, there are question types that you will need to know what you need to answer. So for example, you might not understand this, but let's say I am given a question about explain why this force is on this object. So usually you would need to reference the Newton's law of motion first and then state it. And then basically substitute the situation into the law. So these are things that you will need to know how to do because presentation is a very, very important point to achieve in the exams. And it's also the easiest to lose, even if you understand the materials. And it's just not worth it to lose it when I can lose so many more marks in the calculation part. So for physics, I would just go through the notes, memorize the definitions, do past papers. Cause like there are in a single unit or chapter, there will be structured questions that you know will appear. Like nothing else can appear. Like for example, the resonance chapter for the structured questions, literally only one question type is possible. So you will just study that and then nothing else. But I guess that's not only person-based, like person to person, but also subject to subject. The biggest difference between physics for me would be geography, because I just make notes and then I read them so many times that it's just ingrained in my head.
Yeah.
And then you also teach other people.
Geography is also kind of like common sense.
You need to understand it. Geography is very, I mean, there are definitely memorization based things, but there's also understanding. For example, there's, in the climate change chapter, there's a thing called the Milankovitch cycle, which is 3 different things. Very difficult to understand, but there's the axial tilt of the earth.
That sounds scary.
Yeah.
So the earth, how tilted it is will affect its seasons, and then will affect the energy balance, and therefore will affect the climate change and how much snow is melted and how much sun is received in winter. So all of this is related to each other, and you need to have a very clear concept, a conceptual understanding. So for example, I won't name anyone, but there are questionable creatures in my class that like don't understand stuff, and that really makes your life difficult. Even when I give them my notes, they don't understand things, they cut things out, and that really just messes up your understanding, and that makes everything more difficult. So my suggestion for geography is to understand things. Memorization is just a short-term solution that you shouldn't really rely on, as with any other subject.
Yeah, understanding is a very useful tool. That's how you do well without studying.
Screw you. Regardless. Anyways.
We actually haven't touched on the definition of productivity.
Okay. What is productivity to you guys?
Productivity to me is just how much work you can get done within a period of time.
Oh, how much work you could do. I mean, that is a definition, but like how much work, how effective are you going to do that work? Because if you're able to do a lot of that work, then is the product of it actually going to be that good?
No.
Then is productive supposed to be both efficient and effective at both being a good final product and also being quickly done?
We can refer to the economic definition of productivity.
There's a definition for productivity.
You have understanding, right? You understand the material. Okay. Well, that's said by that's called fake humility, but whatever, right? So productivity, I would assume, based on my understanding of it, would just be utilizing your materials and your capacity to achieve the greatest output level.
Oh, that way. Okay, never mind.
But obviously, I think you should also consider time, because it's a rate. You can get a lot of stuff done, but if you do it in 100 years, it's quite useless. So you really need to consider the time you take. So it's kind of like if you do physics, it's called critical damping. It is the shortest amount of time needed to get the most stuff done, but with great quality. So
at least you have to maintain the quality before you just don't do everything. But just don't butcher everything.
Don't butcher everything. That's quite the story of my life, actually. Regardless. I mean,
everyone's been there. Everybody's made.
And you will go there.
Yeah.
You cannot escape your fate.
That's so ominous. That's so scary.
And you get better as time goes on.
Oh, yeah. Today, we learned something from our Chinese B class. For the non-Chinese students out there, you may have never heard of this term called 挫敗力.
Okay, never heard.
Oh.
So it refers to your ability to deal with failure, stress, and your ability to stand back up again after you fail. So let's say I failed math twice in Form 2. I cried a lot, but then at the same time, you can't really just accept defeat, because what are you going to do with your life? Fun guy. So you cannot really do that. You know what I mean?
And now look at you. You got level 7 in the hardest, math course.
You know, bro, guys.
Bro, guys.
Guys, in my math exam, I said 4 minus 13 equals to 11.
It's okay. You know why? Because 10 to the power of 2 is 1,000.
Great.
But I mean, let's do a small recap of what truly is productivity, how to increase it, what to look out for. President, pass it to you.
Uh-oh. Okay, let's just talk about like techniques first. Feynman technique, we'll talk about that. Pomodoro technique. Feynman technique, basically, you're just explaining it to a wall or people. Like
Your reflection in the water, like
Odd.
Mulan.
toddlers.
No, they will scream at you and tell you why. And then you won't find out because you don't know why.
Why is 1 + 1 2?
I can ask my dad.
Page,
It was 300 actually.
300 pages.
My dad wrote a thesis. I can probably find it.
Unfortunately, I don't think any of us are going to understand by reading it.
They're not fair. I mean, my dad did A level, so yeah, makes sense. That was for the math.
Yeah, anyways, Pomodoro technique, basically you're just doing a specific, you have a time period that you do work, time period that you don't do work, and you just relax, which is
Wow, do
probably
work,
shorter.
guys. Physics.
Do
You guys know what work
Yeah.
done is? Amazing.
Energetics.
I don't think you would learn work in energetics.
Work done is, let me think about the definition I got on Quizlet. I forgot. It
Anyways,
is like
yeah.
the energy transferred between two objects by a means of a force. So you can substitute
Anything.
the correct metaphors into it and you'll get
What's
work
the
done.
formula for work?
WD equals to KE plus PE. Or
That's-
FS cosine theta.
I think
Or-
the first one's correct. I don't know what the second one is though. So
F is force, S is displacement, and then if the work done is done by friction, it will be negative FD, which is friction and distance. Sorry, no side tracking.
Anyways, what other techniques were there?
I mean, there aren't really names to these techniques.
They're just, you find the techniques yourself. I'm so sorry to say that, but you just find it yourself.
That was such a useless 45 minutes, huh?
No. These are just suggestions. Again, take it with a grain of salt. You can just go online, search some. Of course, we're also here to talk to you about it. There's also the advice that you shouldn't waste time on making pretty notes. But again, it depends on whether you or not you care about the aesthetics of your notes. Because some of us, like me and Theta, we don't care about it. As long as you understand it, it's fine.
Bro, you haven't seen my notes. They are horrendous.
if they're
It's
messy,
okay.
I just don't understand them. So that's why I would need at least organized notes. I can't just go having a line over here, a line pointing to this, a line
Yeah.
pointing to that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go insane over trying to read that.
So do not write the scribes of the devil, perhaps.
怪瓦夫.
鬼画符. Nice. Anyways.
See, my memory is bad.
Whoa, no way. Econ. Okay. Anyway.
I think the key takeaway is honestly, even though we have so many different techniques that are possible for you to test out, you really have to just go ahead and try them to see if they work for you. Because in Form 3, I actually went through like 5 different study techniques. I had tried the Pomodoro technique. I had tried teaching other people. I have tried just
Memorizing?
blatantly memorizing everything by just writing everything down. It kind of worked. It also all of them kind of worked and it also kind of didn't. It just depends. For one, it depends on the subject. For some reason, history worked for me when I just wrote everything down.
Yeah.
It's history.
History is kind of like
It's history.
brainless.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry.
there is an analysis behind history, so that history doesn't repeat itself, even though it will. But regardless.
And geography. I use a lot of mind maps for geography in Form 3 actually.
Gross.
And that actually
I
worked
hate
out.
mind maps.
That actually worked out really well for me. So I don't know. You really have to test out to see if that study technique works for you in that subject. Each subject could possibly have their own study technique.
Mhm.
Like how Theo said, she may not be that good at calculating for physics, so she would decide to study for the definitions instead, so that she
Maximize
doesn't
them.
lose the marks for that. Or I suddenly can't think of any other examples. I use tables for economics because it's easier to grasp all the knowledge. For IB economics, basically you have to compare and contrast the 2 different policies. So
Yeah.
basically making tables lets us easily understand that. So that's what I use. So just each of the subjects has their own study technique that might fit you. So just keep trying. You're probably still junior form, so you still have a ton of time. Even if you're Form 4 really doesn't matter. So just spend that time trying.
Form 4 really doesn't matter. But before Jasmine gives you her thanks, I will give a brief introduction to what we're talking about next time. Krishna sadly won't be here anymore.
Wait, hold on.
That's so sad. But we will be talking about linguistics, the accents of AI, onomatopoeia.
I know.
I don't know how to pronounce that. Like bang bang and buzz buzz and bark bark.
Yeah.
Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia.
I don't think you have to specify it, so.
Onomatopoeia. Okay, guys. We'll be talking about onomatopoeia and a lot of other interesting linguistics phenomenon. Like, have you guys heard of the Kiki Bobo effect?
Font?
Yes.
I thought it was font.
No,
Not font.
Was it not?
it was two different shapes.
It's a spiky thing, and then it's a ball. So then, which one do you think is Kiki, and which one do you think is Bobo?
Ball is Kiki.
Exactly. Well, okay. So yeah, we'll be talking about a lot of that next time. So if you're interested in language, interpretation,
AI.
do tune in. Anyways, wanna wrap us up, President?
Thank you guys for not wasting your time, listening to our podcast. It is the first episode, so
We apologize.
This might be
I also
very chaotic.
apologize.
So if you are here now, we hope that you will give us enough grace, a time for grace, to listen to our next one. Maybe it will be better. No promises though.
Maybe this will become your white noise.
God. Regardless,
It's just us being noisy in their ears.
I'm sorry, guys.
Some people like that. They may have
White noise for
my-
studying.
Study groups.
Study groups.
Yeah, study groups.
Wanna touch on that?
sure. I mean, I think we still have a bit of time.
Yeah.
we
Sorry
do.
for getting your hopes up that we're shutting up soon. But yeah,
Should we start with noise?
white noise. Do you guys use white noise?
I don't. I either listen to music or just listen to my voices inside my head.
It's like I will never be able to do anything without music.
Oh yeah, that's so real.
Like music gets me the ability to actually do things. Like I feel like without music, I would just be dead, sitting here doing. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Music just makes me focus. But what type of music do you guys listen to?
I listen to now I listen to more metal. So
You're listening to Sandman when studying econ? Just highway to hell? Like econ?
yes,
Okay.
basically.
Great metaphor.
It's like really energetic songs. It could be K-pop songs.
Like when we get the
Magnetic.
use for all our subject, we use all of them. But regardless.
Metal sometimes. It could also be this podcast. I've mentioned it so many times in the past few days, but when I study economics, listen to this podcast on Spotify called Economics Explained.
However, before you click off, listen to us finish yapping first.
And also listen to more calming songs for generally more like less demanding subjects like English or or biology. Like it's a lot more chill than math. For math, I would need something that's like
That gives you an existential crisis.
exactly.
Do you even study for English?
Yeah, we study for English.
We like practice
I
Yeah.
guess that makes sense.
because you
But
can't really
yeah,
study.
I remember hearing from Mr. Lee that you two are the only people that sent him email asking, "Hey, can you mark this?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we did it together.
Well,
we did it
that's
last.
practice, though.
Your turn. What music do you listen to?
Oh God, There is so much different music that I listen to. I literally do not care about what I listen to.
Country.
Country?
Yes.
I
Okay.
don't think I listen to country that often, but usually from what I listen to, it's usually EDM because it is a vibe.
It is a vibe indeed. What's your favorite song?
Favorite song for EDM?
Yes.
Is there like also a specific band
Specific
or
band?
producer?
No sidetracking,
Okay,
guys. This
sorry.
is about
I'm
productivity.
sorry.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people say they listen to classical music.
Oh yeah,
Classical music is helpful for some subjects.
Like-
I mean,
history.
Girl, what? What are you trying to do? Zhongyi bang into the thing?
just listen to the Hamilton soundtrack when
Exactly.
reading history.
See, right. I mean, there are studies. I think I read a studies back in like 2021 that was basically a study conducted by shoving Mozart music into the children's ears
Oh, yeah.
when they're studying, and it proved that they actually make it smarter. They make them smarter.
I thought it was like shoving them to babies.
or maybe I can't be, I take this with a grain of salt, but at the same time, we might be a bit too late for that. But, for me personally, I hate classical music. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
She said it sounds all the same to her.
It sounds boring to me, okay?
No.
Classical music is so different.
Exactly.
But like, I guess when I'm studying, it really depends. Like, for math or physics, when you need high concentration, I don't listen to music.
Yeah, you listen to the voice inside your head.
I would never be able to study with just listening to the voices in my head. I would never be able to do any work with just listening to the voices in my head. I really just need
Some noise.
some noise. It's probably usually just music because I would never trust the white noise because white noise, I could just take my headphones off
Exactly.
and that's just listening to the voices in my head again.
Or there's also these like playlists on YouTube called ambiance, where it's like jazz or like coffee.
Fireplace noises.
Yes, exactly. Or like typing.
Oh,
There's
God.
like office work.
Do you
things.
guys study in cafes then? This sounds like you would be very suitable to study in a cafe.
I don't
like
like
Starbucks?
I don't like sharing my space with strangers.
Yeah, we know.
Sorry.
Anyways.
I don't like studying in cafes. I feel like it's way too distracting to have so much moving around you. I hate that. If I really need to study or get something done, I just put music on and I focus up, lock in.
Lock in.
Oh, on the grind.
I mean, I guess is that really the norm? I'm not sure. We have friends. But, and then we also have friends that study in cafes a lot. But I don't know about you guys. I think you guys are like me, but I just lock myself in my room. Shut the door, no distraction. It's just me and the voices. Nothing else.
Exactly.
I kind of want to talk about this in later episodes, you and Lima guys, but regardless.
What's that?
Like, wait.
Don't care. Don't care. Like, what was I going to say? I forgot.
I think because like cafes, you have to pay. Sometimes you have to pay to stay there.
I mean, clubhouses, if you have one.
Well,
No.
does everyone have that privilege?
I said if you have one.
I mean, but even so, it's just kind of noisy there. And I feel like for subjects such as math, where you need to focus on actually calculating, I feel like that wouldn't be as effective. I mean, I still listen to music while doing math, but I would listen to more mellow songs, such as classical music.
Do you guys study in libraries then?
Libraries are still too noisy. I live in the
What a thing to say.
I live on the 22nd floor. There's no sound there unless my neighbors decide to start blasting music on the high. I don't know.
One time I was studying math and then the people who living above me started to make bad noises and I was really sad. I heard creaking sounds.
Is this
Anyway.
appropriate?
Time for me to yap.
Yeah.
So I would like to explore it in future episodes, but I think certainly we have developed, if not an addiction for doom scrolling, then it's an addiction for dopamine. I did an experiment on myself where I basically did not allow myself to listen to music for 1 week. It was okay. There's like a transient state, like when you're trying to get used to it, that you're like, that you just kind of, what is happening? But then after you get used to it, you kind of realize that even when you're studying and listening to music, your brain actually kind of just shuts it out. You don't really listen to it. Maybe you lip sync to it, but then you kind of realize, wait, I need to focus, and you stop.
Sometimes your brain will just play music itself.
I think you really do have voices inside your head.
Oh no.
The voices inside your head are creeping up, man.
I mean, okay, let's think about this. Do you guys study with groups?
No.
Okay, antisocial beast.
I've tried. They really aren't for me, in my opinion, because I feel like it's very easy to get sidetracked.
Oh, that's so real.
You just look at your phone and be like, hey yo,
Look
this
at this.
meme.
No, it's not even just that. It's like, if you're with a group of friends, like just a study group, I mean, whenever you make a study group, you're probably grouping with your friends.
Exactly.
You guys probably have a lot in common. So you're gonna have a lot to talk about. And you're probably gonna get sidetracked from studying chemistry or something. And then, oh no, exams.
Oh no, exams.
There's also like these websites that match you with strangers on the internet.
Not Omegle, guys. Don't go on Omegle. Don't go on Omegle.
Yeah. So basically you just meet with random strangers and then you just study with them. So you turn your camera on. I think do you mute or something? I've never used it. So
I see people mute. I see websites that just don't have the audio function.
I mean, but then, is there really a point in having those apps?
Yes.
Accountability.
You hold yourself accountable, but I guess that really depends on the person.
am I the only one who has no shame and just wouldn't care if somebody's wrong? Like, if I'm not studying, I don't care. You could see me not study. Who cares?
Your girlfriend, Krishna.
It's the girlfriend pressure is different.
The girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. We can't relate. Regardless. I mean, really, again, it's kind of the same thing with the colorful notes. Don't do it just for the sake of doing it, you know?
Study groups.
Yeah, like don't just be in a study group because it sounds fun or yeah.
You should never be in a study group just because it sounds fun. You need to be in a study group because it sounds productive.
Go to a tutor center if you need one so bad. Maybe, but
I feel like with time, if you're in a group tutor center, you're going to become friends with the people there. I feel like I have never been there. I've never been to a tutor center.
Yes.
but loose industries. You basically just travel around center. So you don't let yourself latch on too hard.
No
Or you're
strings
like
attached.
her, antisocial beast, don't talk to anyone. That's also fine. That's what I'm doing right now.
I feel like that's the most effective way, honestly. But
Yeah.
just, again, see what works for you.
Wanna actually shut up now?
Well, let me think. Is there something else?
We are trying
the
to
yapper.
give you our wisdom.
See, let's see what wisdom we have in our brain.
We kind of.
What about extracurriculars?
Oh,
Oh,
You talked about me having 5 extracurriculars and you decided to talk about extracurriculars.
okay.
as well.
I think we can all pitch in a lot about ECAs. Obviously, you the most, but we all have quite the
Hefty.
list, quite the burdensome sum on our shoulders.
That's what you do when you get into IB. Be careful.
You're so mean.
Ominous.
But how do you guys manage time?
That's all you.
I don't. It's like whenever I just have free time, I either procrastinate, I go on my phone, or if I have the motivation, I just do my extracurriculars. It could be playing an instrument. It could be
This club.
Planning for
this
club.
this club, other clubs. It could also just be like other activities I would enjoy that I have on my CAS.
If you don't know what's CAS, it's basically like an excuse the
Creativity.
IB made for you to do ECAs, okay? And if you don't do ECAs, you fail the entire diploma. Anyways,
Yeah,
your turn.
creativity activities.
Well, let's start with you first, though.
I think the biggest tip for me and why I do a lot of my club things very fast is because I enjoy my clubs. I enjoy them a lot. Like, I like yapping with my friends. Before this podcast, I already had a podcast with her. So I like doing these things. And then the Green Club, it's an excuse to hang out with friends. For the Youth Leadership Council, I like managing people, which is an odd thing to say.
Micromanagement.
No. So, like, the person behind the camera right now is basically the cast coordinator of us 3 students. And she may be, wondering, why does this person do things so fast? And can she stop bothering me?
Oh, I've had that experience. It's fine.
Mr. Man. But yeah, for me, it's just, I enjoy doing these things. So naturally, if you like something, you will do it fast. So let's say the day that the exams ended, the first thing I did was I took a nap. And then the second thing I did was I woke up and I did my proposals. Because either I am addicted to stress or I just really like the things that I do.
I think you're just addicted to work.
It makes it for the 2 of us.
Yeah, let's go.
But, go on.
Okay, you-
Okay, thanks. But yeah, I think you should definitely find things that you like. So I think he likes musicals. He likes the SU. He likes STEAM. And I like my clubs, right? So when you like something, you do it very naturally. So don't pick up clubs that you hate. It will make you despise your life and make you want to, So yeah.
Definitely. Okay, yeah. Whenever you're picking ECAs or just clubs to join, make sure it's something you enjoy. Make sure, like for IB, maybe you'll be able to make your own clubs. Make sure it's something that you're interested. Like the podcast club, they made it themselves. They proposed it themselves. This is the first year we're having a podcast club here, right?
The teacher behind the camera proposed it, actually. And simply we were the nepotism babies.
Nepotism babies.
But certainly, I mean, even though Jasmine and I's careers are not specifically related to this club, we like yapping. We like yapping a lot. Actually, I'm not so sure about her, but I like yapping a lot. And this is just an excuse for her to listen to me. So yeah, I mean, even if this is not related to our CV, it's very fun. So
I mean, even if it's not related to CV, who cares? I mean, the university admissions office, if they see that you have had experience in a club, they could ask you about it and you could elaborate a lot on it because it gives you a lot of experience in different things, such as, I mean, you're talking to people that you're going to talk to people in different backgrounds, I suppose, because you have a lot of different podcasts lined up with different topics. So you're going to talk to a lot of different people, a lot of different teachers with different expertise. So you're going to gain a lot of new insights on how this world looks. But for the clubs that you're joining, an advice that I could give you is not to join too many. Don't take me as an example. I know I have.
Funny. It's not ironic.
Yes, it is very ironic, but it really depends on how capable you are of managing stress. It is actually really difficult to be able to coordinate so many different things in so many different clubs, especially because I have executive roles in most of the clubs, if not all of them. Like for SU, I'm currently the president. So basically for every single activity, I'm the one who's directing everybody to do what to do. And then for ITP, I'm the only student that can handle backstage. I'm currently having the role of teaching other students how to manage backstage. And I don't want to talk about the other stuff. Basically, you really have to figure out what you enjoy. And you should probably just start with the member role, see if you really enjoy that. And if you are interested in leadership, you could move up to leadership roles, such as being the president of the SU if you're joining SU. But those two are really completely different worlds. So again, it's just keep trying, see what you like.
I would say you should learn your strengths and weaknesses.
Oh yeah, that's very important.
Some people are just not suited for leadership roles, and that's not anyone's fault. There are just some people who are better at other things, and that's fine because every role has equal significance. And don't let someone belittle you and call you useless just because they don't agree with you. Okay, don't let people do that.
Very passionate on this subject.
I wonder what happened.
Yeah, I wonder what happened.
But I think for me, I won't say I enjoy leading people, which is a very weird hobby I have.
I think you're just a perfectionist.
Indeed. So like
a lot of leaders are perfectionists.
Yeah.
Actually, they really want something to be absolutely perfect.
So that is also my weakness. You know, if I can have high standards for myself, but when I have the equally stingy standards for my members, it's quite difficult. So when I find a middle ground is I have them do the first draft. And if I have particular things that I'm very picky about, I will fix it myself. Don't just give everything to your members and just do it. Make it pretty. That's a very stupid thing to do because they do not think like you. Some things are subjective. Like when I say, make it pretty, what is pretty? That is subjective. You can't just say, make it pretty. They won't know what to do. So give them guidelines when you are a leader. Well, if you want to become a leader. And don't just give them something and tell them to do it. Maybe make a demonstration, make a demo product, give them a tutorial. Don't just do it now, deadline tomorrow. You know, that's a stupid thing to do.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of experience in that. I wonder where. Yeah.
Nothing. Let's smooth over that. Your turn.
Advice on ECA.
She's a new kid, so she had to.
How do you remain productive with your current new clubs?
You can't just say you don't know. You're the president of Scholars on Air.
Yeah, exactly.
The issue is that I wasn't the person who was the initial president. She was.
But then the school said no double president roles.
I don't even know why the school decided to set up this role. I mean, well,
they don't want you because of you.
They don't want the students to overwork themselves. And also, last year they decided to implement a new policy that was like, if you're the president of or president or vice president of something big like ELA, ITP, SU, House, then you can't be the if you're the president of any of those, you can't be the vice president of something else. Because if you remember from last year, do you know who Phoebe is?
Yes. Sorry for name dropping you guys. But yes, she's very pretty.
She was basically the
Red House captain.
Yeah, Red House captain and also the vice president of last year's SU. So basically...
Oh, wasn't she also involved with musical?
Yes, but musical's not big enough of a club to matter. So basically, the school has decided to ban that from happening, so you can only have one major role, technically. So yeah, that's the situation we're in right now.
Continue. Miss
Continue.
Jasmine. Yu.
Don't name drop my entire name. It gives me trauma.
Girl. Okay, anyways.
So I think because I spend a lot of time with her, I get influenced by her a lot. So what I do is just whenever I receive work, I would do it immediately. Or because I'm kind of like under her in a lot of clubs. No.
I am not like that. Don't let her word of mouth ruin my reputation.
In like club positions. Okay. Like I'm vice president in co-leader in YLC.
It's just a random council. You don't need to care.
Yeah. And then, I think secretary for Green Club.
But I am under her in club positions for Scholars on Air. So how do you feel leading me? You are my boss.
This is not about productivity.
Fine. Let's roll back onto productivity.
Productivity for clubs.
How do you manage 3-4 different clubs with executive important roles that you lead people?
To be very honest, like for SOA, for Scholars on Air, it's just managing managing
2 people.
Episode. Yeah. Just 2 people and then 3 other people.
And I am unproblematic.
Yeah.
And I listen to her.
Unproblematic.
For other clubs, because I'm directed by her, so it's kind of easy to do because she gives clear directions. So I know what to do.
I
And also
strive.
because we have like similar taste in aesthetics. So whenever we do like media posts, when I do something, she just probably approves it quite quickly.
Like, you may not understand, but I guess something we're picky about is same font size, same font, alignment, and some other people don't care about that. And we care a lot about the symmetrics of things. And that's just us being picky. So basically, I make her follow up on the things that other people produce that may not be as aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
So that's a piece of
Advice.
a piece of advice that you should maybe consider when you are about to become a leader. But take it with a grain of salt. We are just younglings,
Duckling.
Younglings.
Young little duckling.
young little ducklings navigating our first year as executives, basically.
But I want to ask you, for your clubs, you have like around 3 clubs, right? And you only have an executive. I mean, you have an executive role in YLC as well. But
She's executive in most things, all things actually.
Secretary isn't really executive. I wouldn't say so.
Fine.
I mean, but how would you come to prioritize these activities?
Based on her CV.
Based on my none of them really
Fair.
are
I
related,
get-
but it's most likely because we have specific activities for these clubs. So it just depends on which one is coming earlier or earliest. So that's just how I prioritize it.
How do you?
Me personally, my priority has always been the SU.
What a
I mean, yeah.
responsible president, guys.
Like, seriously, I don't feel like I should say this out loud, but I'm still gonna say it. But I would probably prioritize SU over my own academics.
Oh,
Why?
wow.
Because I care about the students.
What a pretentious person. Oh, sorry, wrong usage of the word.
Mr.
Mr. Lee's gonna come
Lee.
back. No!
I don't mean to say this to sound like bougie, but like, I don't even think that's how you're supposed to use the word bougie. But like,
Phony. Whatever.
I don't know. But I feel like each person probably has their own priorities, and usually people would prioritize their own academics, but you would probably also have your own activities, like your own extracurriculars that you want to prioritize. And as you're a junior form right now, I suppose, you would probably have more activities and you would probably like some more than the others. So you would probably, like, for example, musical. Let's say you're in musical and ITP. And let's say you enjoy musical more than ITP. Well, then maybe in the future you would move on to maybe trying to get a more executive role in musical instead of trying to focus on ITP and just remaining as a member there, so that you would have less administrative work. So basically you would have more time to just do the things you need to do for musical instead.
Mm-hmm. I mean, admin work is hell and back, man. Never, if you hate admin stuff, you hate proposals, you hate like documentation, don't even consider becoming a leader. Well, You can get a secretary to use.
That's something to consider joining SU if you don't really like admin work. Like on surface level, it seems like all we do is just provide activities. But
This school is so sorry, but you're so annoying. Like one singular event would require like 3 different proposals, and I get it. It's to ensure the smooth sailing of events, but definitely it's too repetitive.
it is very repetitive and it's very annoying to have to write so many different proposals, even for something so specific.
yeah.
But sooner or later, like
Wait, no sidetracking. Productivity.
Oh.
So wrap up, guys. How to be a leader.
how to be a leader. Let's start
Oh my god.
with you, kid on a block.
New kid on the block.
I'm like kind of a terrible leader because I'm more of a person that follows rules.
Wow. What a goody two shoes.
I mean,
sorry.
I mean, even if that's the case, even if you're somebody who likes following and doesn't like bossing, like I would say bossing, but just ordering people around to do activities, you could still be in a team. You could still work as one of the higher authority roles, but you just wouldn't act as like the president or vice president, who would usually be the ones who are giving the responsibilities out to other people or giving out the tasks to other people. But then again, if you don't want to be a leader, I still want to advise going to SU, because SU is more so about training yourself to become a leader.
Wow, how eloquent. But I mean, you know what? To conclude, to conclude, I think becoming a leader truly depends on your personality. You don't need to force an introvert to become extroverted. That's not you. You should be authentic. That's part of what makes a great leader. And I think you should give concrete instructions. Don't overwork your teammates. They will grow to hate you. Trust me, I know. And, yeah, just be a human, be sympathetic. Put yourself in their shoes. And that's about it.
Yes, definitely. There are a lot of situations where, like, I want the members in my SU to be very productive. I want them to be able to complete everything as quickly as possible. I want them to be able to do everything at a very good quality. But there are really just some things that you really need to be aware of their abilities as well. You can't really force them to just go, you need to finish this by tomorrow or else. I don't know what consequence I could come up with, but just, you can't really force this on other people. If you want them to become more productive, if you want yourself to be more productive, you could get the entire thing to be more organized. Usually, the fall of teams is usually misorganization, where there's just chaos that happens within your team. So you have your members have no idea what to do. You yourself also don't know what to do. So
not me, but anyways,
try to communicate more. And that's the best way to be a good leader for your team. That's my opinion, at least.
But anyways, we are Scholars on Air, and that is the end of the first episode. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.